Hello everyone and welcome to Season of War. Tonight we are back for another short Age of Sigmar video. My name is Fabian and today we're gonna talk about manifestations. Without further ado, let's get started. First, let's talk about manifestation rules, and there are a lot of them. For the rules that apply to all manifestations. They can be charged as if they were a unit, they can shoot or fight if they have the appropriate weapons, enemy abilities can target them, models can move through them but cannot end them move on top of them, all manifestations can only use the same ability once per phase, and finally they all have a 6 upward. Moving manifestations are the closest to units. They are treated as if they were units for movement, being in combat, combat range, and setting up other units. So that means, for instance, that they cannot move after being set up. They can usually be only set up outside of 9 inches of all enemy units. And outside the turn where they were set up, they can move using their move characteristics. Static manifestations, on the other hand, are treated as being units for combat range, movement, and being combat only for the combat phase. That means that they can be ignored during movement and also that they can be set up directly in combat. Regarding the manifestation lore, you get to pick one during list building for your army. It can be either one specific to your faction or a universal one, but you only get one of them. And every wizard or priest in your army knows all the spells or prayers in the manifestation lore. Regarding the summoning of manifestation, you can only attempt to summon the same manifestation once per phase. To summon a manifestation, you just need to successfully cast or chant for the spell or prayer associated with the manifestation, and the range and setup limitation are listed on the spell or prayer. To remove manifestations, there are quite a lot of ways to do it. First thing first, they can now suffer damage and therefore be destroyed this way. They can also be banished by a wizard or a priest, as long as the banishment roll beats the banishment value. It's worth noting that some manifestations have the passive wild form, which makes it that if they are banished, instead of being removed from play, they suffer 6 damage instead. And then the last way to remove a manifestation is just to kill the wizard or priest that summoned it. That will remove the manifestation instantly. Now onto the universal manifestation lore, with the first one being Forbidden Power. It includes the Shards of Varagar, Loudshot the Soul Seeker, the Horrorghast and the Soul Scream Bridge. This set of manifestations have quite a lot of health and pretty good saves, meaning that they would be quite hard to remove with attacks. The Shards of Varagar are static manifestations that block setup within 6 of them and flying as well. Loudshot the Soul Seeker transports a wizard infantry unit with it during movement. The Horrorghast shoots and fights and can turn off command if it does enough damage in shooting. And finally, the Soul Scream Bridge transports one unit from one of each part to the other one. Worth noting that the 2 parts of the bridge have to be set up within 9 of each other. The second universal manifestation lore is Morbid Conjuration. It includes the Purple Sun, the Gravetide, the Maelstrom and the Shackles. The Purple Sun of Shaiish can do some damage, but its main use is to reduce the save of every unit within 3 of them by 1. And it also has the passive Wild Form, making it much harder to banish. The Gravetide can still do a lot of damage to units with a lot of models during the movement phase, but now is also very punchy in melee if it makes a charge, thanks to charge plus 1 damage. The Maelstrom will charge with cast and models being removed within 12, and at the end of the turn, if it has 6 points or more, it's just gonna explode and do mortals to every unit within 9. And finally, the Shackles are a static manifestation, which means that they can be set up in combat, and they can do mortals and reduce the movement to units within 3 of them. Then we have the Aetherwrought Machineries lore manifestation. It includes the Chromantic Cogs, the Quicksilver Swords, and the Aethervoid Pendulum. The Cogs are a static manifestation that can give either reroll charge wholly within 12 or -1 to hit against wizards that are wholly within 12 of it. The Swords just do a lot of attacks in melee and their damage cannot be warded. The Pendulum can only move in the direction of the tip of the axe, but it can move in both movement phase except the turn when he's set up, and it does mortals to units he passed across. Then we have the Primal Energy lore manifestations. It includes the Burning Head, the Emerald Light Swarm, and the Ravenax Gnashing Jaws. The Burning Head is the only manifestation with a casting value of 5, and it does a bit of damage with shooting and melee, but every time it uses a shooting ability, it suffers 1 damage. The Light Swarm can heal one of your units in your movement phase, and also heals itself at the end of every turn. And for the Ravenax Gnashing Jaws, it does a lot of damage in melee, especially when it charges, thanks to charge +1 damage, and also does a lot of impact when it charges, with an average of a bit more than 3 mortals. On top of that, it also has the Wild Form passive, making it harder to remove from play. For the last of the traditional manifestation lore, we have Twilight Sorceries, including the Umbral Spell Portal, the Geminids of Ulgish, and the Prismatic Palisade. The spell portals allow one wizard within 3 of one of the 2 parts to get +1 to cast and to measure range and visibility from the other side of the portal. The Geminids have decent damage in melee, but most importantly, they turn off commands for every unit they are in melee with. And finally, the Palisade is immune to shooting and blocks line of sight for shooting for units behind it, making it a very good manifestation to summon during your opponent's turn against a shooting army. And last but not least, we have everyone's favorite, the Crown Spine. So now the Crown Spine is not a unit anymore, it's a manifestation. It's summoned with a spell. That spell is a bit hard to cast with a casting value of 8, and then you can summon the Crown Spine wholly within 12 and outside of 9 of all enemy units, like most of the other manifestations. It's pretty solid with 10-inch move, 12 health, a 4-up save. It's very geared towards hunting and killing manifestations. First, at the end of any turn, if it kills a manifestation, it heals 6. And then if it's within 18 inches of a manifestation, you can add 1 dice to the charge roll. But if you do that, you have to finish the charge within half an inch of a manifestation. If you can't, the charge is failed. And finally, it has the Wild Form passive, meaning that you cannot just remove it by banishing it. To summarize, manifestations are more important than ever, but it will take some time adapting to them. Their rules are quite complex, but knowing how to play with and against them will be critical for success in 4th edition. And being able to summon manifestation in the opponent's turn with magical intervention will definitely create some very unique plays. Regarding universal manifestations, they seem pretty balanced between each other. There does not seem to be one lore that looks way stronger than the other ones. They each have a different role and purpose that's going to be better or worse depending on your list archetype. And even though the Crown Spine is the strongest individual manifestation, it costs a lot to take it because you lose a lot of flexibility by having only 1 manifestation rather than 3 or 4, and the spell to cast it has a pretty high casting value. So don't worry, even though the Crown Spine is not bad, it will not be as dominating as it has been in the past. Well, thanks everyone for watching, we hope you appreciate it. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and see you in the next video.